That's all I wanted to hear, Meredith says. In that case, I wish you all good luck on your journey. Oh, and take good care of Diane for me, will you? She's very important to me. We will, Kate says. Goodbye. Meredith tells us, and then she turns to leave. See you, Diane tells Meredith as she enters a hidden tunnel and disappears. Okay. So there are no more secret corridors between here and the teleporter, Diane says as she turns to you. Just stick close to me and I'll lead you out of here. After a minute or so later, we finally reach the teleporter room where the Lasethi teleporting engineer from Hexol faction was waiting for us. When he sees us arrive, he frowns while taking a good long look at the scepter in Kate's hand, but decides no longer comment about it to address Diane. He's probably going to teleport us to some random cavern or something. Where to, Lasethi asks simply. The place where you initially teleported us from. We'll find our way from there, as you wish, the Lasethi says. Then he activates the teleporter. Shame as always, we got engulfed by a white light vibrating loudly. Then we all find ourselves on the surface in the exact location that we arrived from. Before anyone has a chance to speak, Melinda casts air currents on herself. Then she turns around so she can face all of us. Well guys, I guess this is goodbye, Melinda says out of the blue. Hey, you're leaving? Not even going to give me a rock as a souvenir? Alright, bye. You know, I'm actually going to miss you. Man, all of these are good. I'm gonna save and I'm gonna try a few. I always say that, but I never do. I'm gonna say this one. Hey, you're leaving? Not even going to give me a rock as a souvenir? Well, since you asked so nicely, Melinda says she takes out a small rectangular rock from a backpack while I hear a flower beginning to sniffle in the background. Here you go. 600 years ago, these types of stone were often used in the making of good luck charms. I figured that you could use some extra luck considering how much trouble you usually get yourself into. Hey, that's very thoughtful of you, I say. Take the rock and put it in my backpack. And make sure to hold on to this. I'm gonna go back. You know, I'm actually going to miss you. That's what I'm gonna say this time. I suppose I'll miss you too, Melinda says in an unusually heartfelt tone coming from her. As we hear Flower beginning to sniffle in the background. All of you, it's been a long time since I've traveled with other people by my side, but I'd be lying if I said that I didn't enjoy our time together. Maybe at a later date when we're all finished what we set out to do, we'll meet again. Actually, we will all likely be meeting again sooner than that. Kate tells Melinda. There's still the God of Times ritual, remember? Alright, Melinda said, I almost forgot about that. Are you sure that there's no way we can help you save your brother from wherever he is? Darren says. Maybe if you could tell us what happened to him, because no, there's nothing you can do to help aside from what you've already done, Melinda says. I know I've been a little elusive about what happened to my brother, but one of the main reasons for that is because I'm not entirely sure myself what has become of him. I'd rather spend my time trying to find him than thinking about worst case scenarios. All I can tell you for certain is that he fell in with some very shady individuals a while back who had him fooled that they had best of intentions. I had never heard of him since. Fortunately, I still have a few leads that could help me get to him, and with the item that I've retrieved from the late King of Ollender, hopefully it shouldn't take me more than a few days to reach him. But then wouldn't it be quicker if some of us searched for him at the same time? Kate asks her. I can travel much faster when I'm alone, Flinder says. I can fly, remember? Look, there's no need for you to any of you to worry about me or my brother. You already have enough on your plates as it is. I promise I'll let you all know as soon as I've found him. Fine, Kate says, but you better be keeping your transceiver close to you at all times, because I'm planning to keep in touch with you, whether you like it or not. As a matter of fact, I would like that I see, Melinda says with a smile. I would like that very much. You really have to leave, Flower says in a shaky voice as she's still trying hard to keep herself from crying. Can't you at least stay with us for a little while longer? There's so much more I want to talk to you about. So much more that we could have done together. I'm sorry, Flower, but I really can't afford to delay this any longer, Melinda says. A part of me really wishes I could have taken you with me, but I also don't want to separate you from your friends. And of all the people here, you're definitely the one that will be missing the most. That I'll be missing the most. Can I at least call you often? Flower says, while you're gone. As often as you want, Melinda says. And like Kate said, we'll still be meeting again during the ritual, so I'm sure we'll be seeing each other very soon. Okay, Flower says as she slowly stops sniffling. I can live with that. Well, Melinda says as she takes one last look at each of us. I suppose this is it then. Aye, Hardrick says, this is it. Not to ruin the mood or anything, Darren says, but advise moving slowly when you fly away from here as an extra precaution. Normally the enchanter's oath that you have taken should not require you to do anything else now that we are in the possession of the pinecone detector, but it never hurts to be too careful. So you don't know if it came off? Malindra says, it doesn't look to me like the oath is warning me about anything, but I will do as you say, just in case. Thank you for your concern. You're welcome, Darren says. The Malindra now raises herself into the air and gets ready for her departure. I'll see you all later then, Malindra says, while waving her hand at us from up above, and then she starts flying away, slowly at first but gradually faster until we lose sight of her completely. As we're about to get ready to depart ourselves, Flower pulls out her receiver, rotates the dial to change its calling frequency, taps at one. Hey Malindra, how you doing? She says. Flower. Malindra says, you do realize that when I said you could call me as often as you want, I didn't mean... You know what, never mind, I'm doing Flower. I'm doing fine, Flower. How are you? Doing great, thanks for asking. Flower says with a smile. Talk to you later, bye. That's kind of cute. She then taps her transceiver again to close it. Then she turns to us as well. Nava says, when she realized we're all staring at her. What are you all waiting for? Let's go get those pine cones on the double. Hop 2, 3, 4, okay? Yes, she's marching. Flower then starts doing one of her usual military marches as she pushes us all from behind in order to hasten our pace. We barely get to march for a little more than a minute. However, because as we have come to expect by now, certain Stillwater with his eyes closed was already waiting for us on the road ahead, wearing his characteristic polite smile on his face. Hello again, my friends, Aiden tells us as we approach. Did you enjoy your trip to the Lessetti headquarters? How's Meredith doing? When she saw Aiden, Diane was already beginning to charge up her electric powers, but Kate stopped her promptly because she could do anything stupid. If you're looking for Meredith, you just missed her, Darren tells Aiden. We all said goodbye to her not even a minute ago. Oh, there's no need to worry about that, Aiden said. I'm sure she and I will meet again at some point in the future. However, as you've probably already realized by now, Malindra is not the reason for my visit. Let me guess, I say, you want to know if I delivered your message or not. You're a fast learner, Barry, Aiden says. That's what I like about you. I did deliver the message just like you asked, I say, to Meredith herself. Wonderful, Aiden says. A job well done. So, did she give you an answer for me? Not really, no, I say. No answer? Aiden says, confused. Nothing at all? Did she at least tell you what the message meant? She told us that it was meant as a declaration of war, I say, somewhat apprehensively. Oh. Aiden says in a very disappointed tone, I see. That wasn't the message you were trying to send her, I ask him. Look, if you want to rephrase your message more clearly, I wouldn't mind going back there too. The message was phrased very clearly, Aiden says in a serious tone. I have no doubts that she understood exactly what it meant. The fact that she chose to interpret it in this way is extremely disappointing, however. From what I had heard, Meredith seemed to be a lot more open-minded than the Lessetti leaders before her, so I thought that maybe she would see things differently. Though it does sound like a declaration of war, though. Remember the still winter. That sounds like a war declaration. Like, what else could it be? Like, let's say, like, oh man, like, I don't know. If, let's say, the German minister was sitting there and, like, American minister comes or, like, some British minister comes and it's like, oh, remember World War II or something like that. I don't know. That sounds like, sounds like a warning of some sort. Maybe not a declaration of war, but still. The fact that she chose to interpret it in this way is extremely disappointing. However, from what I had heard, Meredith seems to be a lot more open-minded than her Lessetti leaders. The Lessetti leaders before her, so I thought that maybe she would see things differently and she would prefer to avoid all the unnecessary bloodshed. Perhaps I was wrong. Then pauses for a few seconds while the rest of us remain completely silent. So did you take Meredith's offer? Aiden asked me bluntly. What? I say nervously. What are you talking about? What offer? The offer to kill me in exchange for gaining access to their Magium node, of course, Aiden says. I'm assuming that was the reason why Meredith invited you all into her headquarters. Given the circumstances, I don't see what else she could have needed from you. Maybe we could skip over the pleasantries and commence the battle right now. You all seem to have gotten stronger in the past few weeks, so I'm sure you must have at least entertained the idea of trying to kill me once or twice. Wait, Darren says. We didn't agree to anything. She did make the offer to us, like you said, but she gave us time until the end of the tournament to answer her. Ah, Aiden says, a wise decision now that I think about it. I suppose it would have been foolish to immediately accept such an offer, knowing that I can easily tell if you're lying or not from your auras. But in that case, there's no rush. Take all the time you need to consider your options. After all, there is only an entire continent's fate lying in the balance. Continent, I ask him. Don't you mean island? You know, Barry, Aiden says as he now turns to look at me with his eyes closed. I'm beginning to think that the real reason why I keep coming back to visit your group is because I've grown fond of hearing your wildly inappropriate impertinent remarks. I should probably thank you for bringing some color into the otherwise dull, uninteresting experience that I've never had since I've returned to Varathia. Oh, I get it. Technically, an island's definition is that a landmass surrounded by water on all sides. So technically speaking, a continent like Australia would be an island continent technically. So that's what the technicality he's making a joke about. Continent, I ask him, don't you mean island? That's funny. You're welcome, I say. Always happy to help. Indeed, Aiden says. Then he stays quiet for a few moments to ponder on his next words. Very well then, Aiden tells us after a while. Like Meredith, I too shall await your answer to her offer with great interest. Until then, we will continue to interact in the same way as before. The next time we will be meeting each other will likely be in Galamir.